is Linden. This is my third knitting diary thing. It's not as far apart as my first and second one, so that's exciting. We are at the beginning of the semester though, so we'll see where it goes from here, but I'm hoping to get these out slightly faster than I have been. So I think we'll just get started. Normally I would tell you about what I'm wearing, but this is a recently finished object and I want to go in chronological order. So I'm going to start there and tell you about this later. So the first thing I think I finished that was not fully mentioned in the last video is I did get my dad's socks finished on time. I don't actually have them here, but all of the information about them is in my last video. I just finished the second sock exactly the same way as I did the first one, and they were all ready for my dad's birthday, so that was exciting. Mostly done with gift knitting for now. The next thing I finished, my last video was recorded right at the beginning of finals, and I had a big long break before I actually had any of my finals happen at a long study time. So I actually ended up casting on something new and finishing it very quickly. I kind of just needed a short break from school and to not think about school for a little bit before I actually started studying. I didn't want to burn myself out too quickly. So the first thing I cast off was this beret. This beret is made using some yarn that I mentioned in the last video. I got it at Goodwill for $5, and it wasn't actually labeled there, but it did come in a bag that said Toft on it, and so I think this is wool from Toft, which is a British company, and I'm pretty sure it's the 100% wool. This pattern is a drops pattern. It's called Sidewalk Artist, and I don't think my gauge was really correct for this. It's meant to be knit in, I believe, drops air, but I think this is probably a little bit thinner than drops air. So the needle sizes I ended up using were 5 and 7, and when I tried it on after I cast it off, well, I mean, it wasn't blocked, so it looked big. So I started to block it, and I got it wet, and it just kind of ballooned into this very big shape. I wasn't actually planning to felt it, but like looking at it when it was wet, I thought, there's no way that this is going to be correct. So I did end up like hand felting it by rubbing it with soap in the sink for a while, and I think it ended up having a really nice finish to it. I stretched it over a plate to dry. Honestly, a plate, like it was a full dinner plate. I wasn't thinking that was the size of dinner plate you needed to block a beret, but it turned out pretty perfect. I suppose I can put it on to show you. I have another wool beret that I bought from a store, and it folds in at the bottom, and the thing I like about this one is that I can put it over my ears, and it's pretty floppy, so I can kind of do whatever I want with it, but it's a really nice hat for the winter because it covers up my ears and keeps them warm, and I've been wearing it a lot, but recently I've been wearing a balaclava that I knitted earlier because it's too cold for even just a hat. But I really like this. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I think I did do one more row of increases than it stated in the pattern, because I was worried that it was going to be too small, but I think it is actually perfect. So really happy with the way that turned out. And the color too. The next thing I finished was this sweater. So this is the Seagull by Ruth Sorensen. I found it on Ravelry when I was looking for just like seagull stuffed stuffed seagull patterns like plushes. I am a big fan of the Brighton and Hove Albion football club in the Premier League, and so I really wanted a seagull, and then I saw this sweater and I really wanted that. So this was a huge project to take on. This is the first colorwork project that I've ever done. And it's like stranded colorwork all the way down the sleeves, all throughout, and it's also steeked. So the neck is steeked and the armpits are steeked. And so that was also my first time steeking, and it was very interesting. It started off really slow because you knit it from the bottom up and then obviously steek everything. I just wanted to pop in because I realized I kind of glossed over the whole steeking process, and since it was my first time doing it, I thought it would be helpful for others if I kind of described what I did. So I followed a tutorial by Very Pink Knits, which is what I usually do when I'm learning a new knitting technique, for a crochet steek. So that's where you kind of slip stitch into like half of a knit stitch and on both sides, and then you cut up between those slip stitch lines. I really think the steeking process was really nice because while I'm no longer scared of steeking, I am still kind of scared of doing colorwork flat with a purl side. So not having to like work up around any sort of armhole shaping or neck shaping was super nice. I do have another colorwork project planned, which is a like circular colorwork yoke sweater. So I'm still going to avoid flat colorwork for now, but maybe in the future I will feel able to take that on. But yeah, that's just this kind of little interlude. This is knit in Drops Flora, which is a 65% wool, 35% alpaca blend. I got it a while ago for this sweater, and I'm pretty happy with the way it's turned out. It's really, really warm and a little bit scratchy around the neck, so I've been mostly wearing it with a turtleneck underneath, which is fine. I like that look, but yeah, I'm really happy about it. Every time I wear it, I'm happy. It is pilling a little bit, but I don't really care. I just mostly pull them off, and it's not a big deal. The other thing I will mention is that this is not, all this sleeve here is not how the pattern was meant to be made. What happened was that it specified some amount of decreases here in a chart, and then I think you were supposed to continue decreasing up the sleeve like every so often, but it wasn't very clear about stating that. So I did the decreases here, and then I just kept knitting straight forever and ever, and then I did a bunch of decreases right at the cuff. So it's very poofy in the sleeve, which is kind of a fun look. It is much more fitted in the body, so it's kind of weird in that way, but I don't really mind it too much. It also allows me to wear stuff underneath, and it doesn't like, it's not right up against my arm, which might be kind of constricting. So overall, not that big of a deal, but the pattern, I think, in my opinion, was a little bit unclear about that, but I still love the design overall. There were also a couple of mistakes in the chart, but I caught most of them after the first repeat. So the first repeat has some stitches where there are some stitches in some colors that they're not meant to be in, based on the overall kind of look that it's supposed to be going for, but you really can't tell. It's like 4. So yeah, this is my Seagull sweater. I'm so happy to have it done. It makes me so excited to wear it. I love having all the seagulls. And it's like one of the first big sweaters that I've completed. So I'm really happy about that. Oh, there is one mistake. Let's see if I can find it. One of the sleeves, the wave pattern I did wrong in one repeat. So one of them is like slightly longer than it should be. I think it's actually this one. So the rows don't correspond correctly with the pattern. And that's like, only I can tell. So everything handmade has mistakes in it. So that's this sweater, I think. I'm really happy about it. I went to a yarn store while I was at home and I got complimented on it. And, you know, that's what they do at yarn stores, but I felt very flattered. So, this was one of the few projects I brought home over break, expecting it to take me a long time, and then I got home and had nothing else to do, so I just knitted this, and then it was like 3 weeks before my break. Okay, maybe not 3 weeks, but like a couple weeks before my break ended, and I needed something else to do. So I did end up bringing some other yarn home with me, and with that yarn I made these. These are some color work mittens. These are also a drops pattern. The pattern is snowflake mittens, but they are not knit entirely in drops yarn. This is actually what is it called? It's called Brown Sheep Lamb's Pride Worsted, which I also got at the thrift store. That was mentioned in my last video. And some drops Nepal, which was left over from my mom's sweater that I made for her birthday. I think I might have said in my last video, but I live in a very cold climate at school, so I really needed some warm gloves to make sure my fingers didn't freeze in the below 10 Fahrenheit weather. So that's what these are. The Lamb's Pride is a mix of wool and mohair. I've never worked with mohair, but it's very fluffy, and these are also kind of like probably like felting a little bit because I'm using them, but they've got kind of a halo on them. They are so warm. I mean, a little bit of wind does get through, but if I keep my hands in my pockets of my coat with these mittens on, my hands will almost start to sweat. That's how warm they are. So they're definitely a success. I knit these up really quickly. I tried a couple of drops mittens patterns, and they all seemed really small, and even these ones, I have pretty small hands, so I would not recommend making the size small to anyone else. At least make the medium or large, and then I think there's also a corresponding men's version of this pattern, which might just work better for most people, because these are pretty tight on my hands, and the thumbs, my tension did suffer a little bit on one of the thumbs because I was trying to make them all in one day, make the whole mitten in one day, and so I stayed up really late working on one of the thumbs, and so it ended up a bit tighter. It still fits, but like I can kind of feel that it's a bit tighter. And so yeah, they're really small. So I don't know if they would work for anyone else. And all the drops patterns for mittens seem to be a bit small. So I don't know. I am enjoying them. They work for me, but I'm not sure how many other people they would work for in this size. But I'm really happy with these. And so I finished these, and then I pretty much had nothing to knit. I don't have that much yarn at home, because I don't spend most of my time there, so I kind of ran out of yarn. And so I made the decision that I needed to go to a yarn store, a local yarn store, and buy some yarn. So I've been seeing a lot on Instagram about knitting for Olive, and it's like always recommended as a nice yarn. But I had never seen it in real life or tried it because I don't make it to that many local yarn stores, but I found a local yarn store near my home that had it in stock, and so I went there and I touched all of the yarn and squished everything, and I ended up coming back with some of this. Oh, this is Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Poppy Rose. When I went and visited the yarn store, I had dyed my hair pink a couple weeks before and it was pretty faded. I forgot to mention the pink is new. Sometimes my hair is pink because I feel like it. And so this color was like almost the exact color of my hair at that time. And I also just really like pink, like a light kind of orangey toned pink a lot. So I got 3 skeins of this, and my plan for it was making the square neck camisole by Garn Slikt. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce Scandinavian words. But yeah, really excited about that. And so I did actually finish that as well. So here's my completed square neck camisole. It's a little bit wrinkly because I had it in the closet. I ended up knitting this in a little bit over a week, like a week and a couple days. This was like the last week of my break before I had to go back to school. I made this. It was pretty fun. Knitting and ribbing is kind of a labor of love, and although this yarn is like soft and it's nice to feel, it's not that poofy. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I was having some trouble with the Drops Flora because it would cut into my fingers because of the way that I tension my yarn with my left hand, and it was even worse with this. It's like, I almost want to kind of compare it to cotton because it doesn't like squish in the way that most of the wools that I'm used to working with are. Because this is merino wool. I don't know if I said this. This is this knitting for all of merino. And so it was kind of doing a number on my fingers while I was knitting it. I also knew that my rib stitches often end up where the knit stitch right before the purl stitch is kind of wider. I can kind of show you on the inside what it looks like. So, I mean, this is kind of exaggerated because of what I'm going to show you next, but and it's kind of backwards. So if you imagine going this way, if I'm knitting across this way, this knit stitch right before I transition into my purls is always kind of looser. There's a great Nimble Needles video about how to tighten your ribbing and neaten your ribbing to try and avoid that, and I did try to do that. I am generally not very good at swatching, and by not good I mean I don't do it when I should. So I did play around a little bit when I was kind of getting an overall swatching idea, but I probably should have played around with it more. So I honestly kind of spent the top bit of the sweater like dropping and picking up stitches, trying to figure out the best way of making my ribbing not look like that. So what I settled on eventually was changing that last knit stitch to a twisted knit. So the purls is the same, and then this row is twisted, and the rest of them are not twisted. And to be honest, I mean, I'm not sure I would recommend doing it this way. It is still pretty obvious when you stretch it out over your body that something's different about that stitch. So me trying to get like an overall neater, more uniform rib did not really work out, but this is, I think, still better than just not doing anything. I did end up using US size 2 needles for this. I've discovered recently, as I've started to use more fingering weight yarn, that like the recommended needle size for a lot of this fingering weight yarn, which is like European produced, is 3 millimeters, and which is a US size 2.5, which I don't have because I have a Haya set which comes in sizes 2 to 8, just the integers, no like halves, fractions, any of that sort. So I was forced to knit it in size 2. I did try my size 3. US size 3 is 3.25 millimeters and US size 2 is 2.75 millimeters for some reason. I tried in size 3 and the fabric was a little bit more open than I would like, and I went down to 2 and the fabric was a lot denser and it seemed nice. So I'm still pretty happy with the way it turned out. I ended up knitting a size the second size, even though my measurements probably would have matched the first size better if I had the gauge right. And it is still super tight, probably because I'm a tight knitter and I'm knitting in the wrong size needles, but I still like it. I can still wear it with like my closest fit turtlenecks, because usually I'm wearing a turtleneck underneath something like this, especially in the winter. So I still enjoy it. I think it's a little bit more cropped. Ignore this. It's a little bit more cropped than in the pattern, but it kind of goes right above my belly button, which I think is a nice length for like high-waisted jeans and skirts and stuff. This end, my camera stopped recording. There is a reason that this is left out. That is in case I wanted to unpick the bind off and add more length. I'm pretty happy where it is though, having worn it once, so I don't think I'm going to do that, but just haven't finished. I can probably just cut this off, but haven't done that yet. So that is my square neck camisole. Very happy with it. Pretty happy with the yarn. I do have one more skein, as you saw, of this yarn. I used almost exactly, I mean, this is what's left of the second skein. So I'm trying to figure out what I can do with this. Either I can try and go to another local yarn store near me and buy more of this yarn and make something else out of it, or I can try and make something out of this much. But I'd really like to make a garment, and I don't know. I mean, unless I made like a super cropped tank top with I-cord straps, I don't know feasibly what I could make out of this. So that'll be an issue for future me. So that was kind of an acquisition and finished object all in one. But I do have a fair amount of new yarn to show off, because I still had money from gift cards to Wool Warehouse for my birthday, and there was a Drops alpaca sale going on, so I thought I should take advantage of that while I could, and so I ordered quite a lot of new yarn. This is all Drops Flora. Let me take out, I stuck some of the extra skeins of yarn from the Seagull Sweater in here. But, well, not completely Drops Flora. I guess I'll talk about this first. So, in my last video, I talked extensively about these socks. These are the Vacation in the Mountain socks by Stephanie van der Linden. I made a pair of these socks for my mom for Christmas, but I got the sizing wrong the first time. And I spent so long on this that I didn't really want to undo it. So I instead just started a new pair of socks for my mom completely and left the old one still unfrogged. They actually fit me pretty well, so I thought I'd get myself another skein of this yarn and finish this sock and make myself a pair of socks to match my mom. So got that. Have kind of been working on this recently, but we'll see. My camera is overheating, so it keeps cutting off. But yeah, this is Drops Nord in the shade Old Pink, so I'm hoping to finish this pair of socks at some point in the future. And then I bought enough yarn for 3 more sweaters. This is Drops Flora. All of this is Drops Flora in the colors green, I think just brown, and red. Very exciting. So the green and brown I have plans to make other sweaters out of, which I'll talk about when I start making them, but the red I have actually already started on. So I have been thinking in my mind that I would like a red cardigan for quite a while now, and honestly, after making the square neck camisole in this color, one of the reasons I chose this color was I was like holding it up with other colors in the store, seeing what other colors I could pair it with to make sure that it was going to be like a versatile piece in my wardrobe. And I put it with, where is it? I put it with red, and I love Valentine's Day. I love the color scheme of Valentine's Day of red and pink together, and I was like, oh, that's really pretty. So that kind of solidified my purchase of this yarn. But then, after finishing that camisole, I realized if I can get this red cardigan done by Valentine's Day, then I can wear them for Valentine's Day. My current biggest work in progress right now is that cardigan. So this is the Simplicity Cardigan by Drops. I know, so surprising. I'm knitting another Drops pattern. But it's kind of like, I wanted something with a double knitted button band because I enjoyed doing the double knitting on the square neck camisole, and I think the double knitted button band looks really professional and neat. So that's why I went with the Simplicity Cardigan. This is all, I just did the ribbing, and I have had to take a little bit of a break because, as I was talking about before, I did not have any 2.5 sized needles. But that has changed today, actually. I ordered some interchangeable tips for my Haya set in the size 2.5, because that's what this cardigan also calls for, is 2.5. So I thought I'd just, actually start knitting in the size that I'm supposed to be knitting at. I was a little bit disappointed when they came, though, because I opened the package and I saw that the needle said Haya steel. So I don't know if anyone cares, really, but there's 2 different types of interchangeable sets that Haya sells, metal ones at least. I think they also have a bamboo set, but I am a metal needle person for life. And so they have the sharp and the steel sets, and the sharp sets have a really pointy tip. So I don't know if you can really tell, but the one on this one is a sharp, and this one is my new 2.5 size needle steel. So it is, it's kind of hard to tell here, but it's much blunter. I have been pretty used to knitting with the sharps. I did knit across one row with the steel blunt ones. It wasn't that bad, and I don't want to have to go through the whole process of having to return them and like all of the annoyances that come with that. So I think I'm just going to keep the steels, and I won't have my lovely sharp metal knitting needles, but oh well. It is what it is. So I'm very excited to continue working on this, and we'll see if I can get it done in like 3 weeks. This fingering weight cardigan? Probably not. I have other things I can wear for Valentine's Day, but nothing's more fun than wearing something hand knit. Actually, there is something more fun. Wearing multiple things that are hand knit, which is what I want to do. But we'll see. If I'm not burning myself out on school, I'll be burning myself out trying to get this cardigan done. So now that I have my knitting needles, I can continue. So I think that's everything that I've been working on the past month or so since the last episode. So if you did watch all of this, I want to thank you. I'm going to try and figure out what's going on with my camera. Hopefully you noticed that it's slightly better camera quality because I'm filming on my phone and not my computer webcam, which I decided after 2 episodes it's not high enough quality. So now we're here, but it seems to be overheating, so that's an issue. Maybe I'll just put it on ice pack or something. But I want to thank you for watching if you did get this far. Feel free if you want to subscribe to the channel or like the video. If you want to hear more about my knitting, I have a Ravelry page and an Instagram that I keep pretty well updated if you want to also follow along with me there. Thank you for watching. Bye!